Help me reach 1,000 subscribes. Support the video with a like, and leave your thoughts in the comments. I read every comment. Thanks. I never thought silence could feel louder than shouting, but that night it did. James sat across from me at the kitchen table, his hands folded, his eyes steady in a way that scared me more than anger ever could. The clock above the fridge kept ticking, each second stretching the moment thinner. We had been married 9 years, together for 12, and somehow all of it felt like it was balancing on my next breath. James had always been the calm one, the kind of man who listened before he spoke, who fixed things without being asked, who kissed my forehead every morning before work like it was a habit stitched into him. I used to think that kiss meant safety. That night, it felt like a warning I didn't understand yet. We weren't fighting. That was the strange part. No raised voices, no slammed doors. Just exhaustion hanging between us. I had spent months feeling restless, unseen, irritated by the smallest things he did. Or maybe by what he didn't do. I told myself it was stress, work, life. I told myself it would pass. Instead, it hardened. He asked me a simple question. Are you still happy, Elizabeth? Not accusing, not defensive, just honest. I should have paused. I should have thought. But honesty without care can be cruel. The words came out sharper than I expected. I told him I didn't know anymore, that sometimes I felt trapped, that I loved him, but I wasn't sure I was in love. I didn't scream it. I didn't soften it either. The room went still after that. If this part already feels familiar to you, please tap like so this story can reach others who've lived this moment too. Some stories need to be heard by the right people. James nodded slowly, like he was absorbing a physical blow without showing it. He didn't interrupt me. That hurt more than if he had. I kept talking, filling the silence, trying to explain feelings that didn't even make sense to me. I said I needed space. I said maybe time apart would help. I said things I thought were reasonable, adult, necessary. Then I said the sentence I can't take back. I told him I wondered what my life would have been like if I had chosen differently. He didn't react right away. He just looked at me, really looked at me, like he was memorizing my face. I saw something in his eyes shift. Not anger, not jealousy, acceptance. That terrified me. He stood up, walked around the table, and stopped in front of me. For a second, I thought he might argue, beg, ask me to reconsider. Instead, he leaned down and kissed my forehead, the same way he always did before leaving for work. I hope you find what you're looking for, he said quietly. If you're watching this and you've ever been on either side of that sentence, tell me in the comments which word describes it best for you. Relief, regret, or shock. I want to know how it landed for you. James went to the bedroom and packed a small bag, not angrily, methodically, like someone who had already decided something deep inside. I followed him, saying his name, asking where he was going. He said he was giving me the space I asked for. He said he didn't want to stay where he wasn't wanted. At the door, he hesitated. I almost apologized, almost took everything back. Pride stopped me. Fear did too. The door closed softly behind him. The house felt different immediately. Too quiet, too open. I sat on the couch staring at my phone, waiting for a message that didn't come. Hours passed, then days. No calls, no long texts, just a short message about bills and logistics. Polite, distant. That's when it started to sink in. James hadn't left to make a point. He had left because he believed me. If you think James was right to leave when he did, leave a comment saying self-respect. If you think he should have stayed and fought harder, say stay. Let's talk about it. I told myself this was temporary, that he'd miss me, that we'd talk it through. But every night alone felt heavier than the last. I replayed my words over and over, hearing them the way he must have. Cold, careless, final. Friends asked how we were doing. I said we were working things out. That was easier than admitting I might have ended my marriage with one sentence. If this story resonates with you, please consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it right now. Sometimes perspective travels better through stories. I didn't know yet that James wasn't just taking space. He was making a decision. And I was about to understand what that forehead kiss really meant. A week passed before I realized James wasn't waiting for me to call. I checked my phone constantly, rereading our last exchange like it might change if I stared long enough. It didn't. His messages were polite, efficient, almost professional. He answered questions about the house, about mail, about our dog. Nothing else. No emotion. No nostalgia. No cracks. That scared me more than anger ever could. I started replaying that night in my head, not the argument, but the moments before it. The way he listened, the way he didn't interrupt, the way he kissed my forehead like a goodbye. He had already rehearsed. I told myself I hadn't meant it the way it sounded, but intent doesn't erase impact. I said the words. He believed them. And belief, once formed, doesn't bend easily. I finally asked if we could meet. He suggested a coffee shop near his office. Neutral ground. That alone told me something had shifted. When I walked in, he was already there, seated, calm, unreadable. He stood when he saw me, not out of affection, but courtesy. It felt like meeting a stranger who knew everything about me. We talked for an hour, or maybe 10 minutes. Time felt strange. I told him I missed him. I told him I was confused, overwhelmed, scared of routine, scared of waking up one day resentful. He listened the same way he always had. Then he spoke. He said he loved me, but he loved himself too. He said he couldn't unhear what I said, that once someone wonders out loud about choosing a different life, the current one becomes optional. He said he didn't leave to punish me. He left to protect what dignity he had left. That's when it hit me. I hadn't lost him because I was honest. I lost him because I was careless with something fragile. If you've ever wondered whether some words change things forever, comment below and share whether you believe closure is real or just something we tell ourselves. This is where opinions usually divide. James slid an envelope across the table. Inside were papers. Not aggressive, not rushed, just prepared. He told me I didn't have to decide anything that day. He just needed me to understand that he was done waiting to be chosen. I asked him if there was someone else. He shook his head. There doesn't have to be, he said. Sometimes leaving is about walking away from pain, not toward another person. We stood up. There was no dramatic ending. No tears. No last kiss. He nodded once and walked out. I stayed there, staring at the empty chair, realizing that love doesn't always end with betrayal. Sometimes it ends with clarity. That night, alone in the house, I finally understood what that forehead kiss meant. It wasn't forgiveness. It wasn't hope. It was goodbye wrapped in kindness. If this moment made you feel something uncomfortable or familiar, start a discussion in the comments. Do you think honesty without empathy is bravery or selfishness? Read what others write before you answer. Weeks later, I signed the papers. Not because I wanted to, but because I respected the man James had shown himself to be. Walking away quietly, holding his ground without cruelty, teaching me, too late, the weight words can carry. I don't tell this story to make him a hero or myself a villain. I tell it because some sentences can't be edited after they're spoken. And some people leave not because they stopped loving you, but because they finally started loving themselves. If this story helped you reflect on your own relationships, please comment with one word that describes how it made you feel, and subscribe for more stories that explore the choices we don't realize are permanent until they are.